Welcome back. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss our breakdowns of the hottest moments in basketball. 24 hours. That's all it took. One day, Caitlin Clark was just another rookie grinding through a long season. The next, she was gone. Not injured, not traded, not suspended, just gone. And the strangest part? Nobody in the league wanted to explain why. Phones went unanswered. Interviews vanished. Press statements turned into a flat, no comment, which left only one conclusion. Something massive had just happened behind the scenes. Stars don't disappear overnight, unless someone with real power makes a move. And this one started quietly, like all dangerous stories do. No breaking news, no viral tweet, just a call late at night. An NBC sports producer reaching out, not for a feature, not for a guest spot, but for something bigger, a permanent seat, primetime coverage, NBA broadcasts, national television, millions of eyes on her. The kind of stage most players wait their entire careers to even sniff. And here's the kicker. They didn't call a legend. They didn't call a retired superstar. They didn't call a coach. They called Caitlin Clark, a rookie, barely months into the league. Think about that. One of the biggest networks in America said, "We want her."
Before it got started, lost the first game, won the next two. I don't know how you technically spin that. I mean, if it's a series, she won it, but she lost the first game, as she lamented. But nonetheless, she gets out there and gets on the broadcast and speaks on a myriad of issues. But she's funny, obviously. Caitlin Clark has a good sense of humor. We've seen that over the years, and she pointed out one of the most notable things on the broadcast, which is the height disparity between her and Reggie Miller and Carmelo Anthony on the broadcast, which was the height disparity between her and the NBA players on set. I'm going to wear stilts next time you see her there with Carmelo and Reggie Miller. And that's with Reggie Miller saying he's the third best shooter in the state of Indiana right now.
There's a new.
Not the league, not the system. This isn't hype. This is leverage. And leverage changes everything. Here's the part fans never see. Behind the smiles, press conferences, and social media posts, leagues run on control. Control the schedule. Control the spotlight. Control who becomes famous and who stays invisible. But when a network bypasses the system and calls a player directly, control cracks. And cracks make executives nervous. Inside the WNBA offices, sources say the reaction wasn't excitement. It was silence. The uncomfortable kind. The kind where nobody knows what to say because everyone is thinking the same thing. How do we let this happen? For years, the formula was simple. Want attention? Go through the league. Want media coverage? Go through the league. Want opportunity? Wait your turn. Caitlin Clark didn't wait. She skipped the line. And when someone does that, it stings. Especially for the veterans. Especially for the ones who spent a decade building everything brick by brick. Reporters noticed it first. The locker room used to be packed with media. Suddenly, half the cameras and notebooks were gone, waiting outside one door, the door Caitlin walked through.
Caitlin,
Yeah.
Tyrese, and now myself.
you.
We'll have to get Tyrese's opinion on that. I'm not sure Tyrese would agree.
So there you go. Caitlin talking about that, poking fun at the appearance. That was one of the first things that stood out. Then there is the important question, which came later in the broadcast about the CBA. And one thing you have to like about it is Caitlin Clark was confident in her answer about that going into this make or break meeting on Monday.
The biggest moments the WNBA has ever seen. Looking forward into the future, what would you like to see happen as you come to a negotiation?
Well, honestly, I don't think it's just a big moment for the WNBA. I think all of women's sports, I think this is one of the biggest moments we've ever had. So, I feel very confident that we're going to get something done. And that's because we're in this moment because of the product we put on the floor. So we need to be able to continue to do that. And I know everybody's working really hard. There's a meeting tomorrow that's super important. And I truly do believe we're going to get something done here in the next couple of weeks.
There she goes, Caitlin Clark, commanding attention as always. Yeah, and now we'll have to get Tyrese's take on that. Though I'm not sure he'd fully agree. But there she was, breaking the ice and showing her personality, poking fun at the appearance, confident, calm, and collected. That was just the start. The real headline came a bit later during the broadcast when she was asked about the WNBA's labor negotiations, the CBA talks that could define the league's future. And Caitlin? She didn't flinch. She didn't hedge. She answered with the kind of poise that turns heads. Looking ahead to the negotiation, she said, "Honestly, This isn't just a big moment for the WNBA. This is a defining moment for all of women's sports. I feel very confident that we're going to get something done because we're in this moment thanks to the product we put on the floor. Everyone's working hard, and tomorrow's meeting is huge. But I truly believe we'll reach a deal in the next couple of weeks. Confidence, clarity, and a sense of purpose. Caitlin Clark isn't just talking. She's making sure everyone knows why she matters.
More iconic figure in basketball in the women's game right now, or the game in general. So we said, let's have a bigger conversation. And it's just so crazy that it feels like every other sport will just come out and say what it is besides the WNBA. The NBA is not scared to acknowledge that there's no more iconic figure in basketball. Not just the women's game, but possibly the game in general than Caitlin Clark. But we would not hear that in the WNBA space. We wouldn't hear that from WNBA media, but the NBA media and the NBA and the league itself is not scared to say it. Like we've seen it when Caitlin does golf events. It just seems like every league but her own is not scared to say the truth. But I do think it's
But here's the thing. Caitlin Clark's sponsors weren't asking about teams. They were asking about her schedule. TV shows weren't hyping matchups. They were hyping her segments. Suddenly, it didn't feel like a league anymore. It felt like the Caitlin Clark show. And that's when jealousy starts creeping in. Not loud, not obvious, but quiet. Passive comments, small jokes, subtle digs. She's everywhere. They're shoving her down our throats. But the numbers don't lie. Games she played, sold out. Games she missed, attendance plummeted. Ratings doubled when she appeared, tanked when she didn't. This wasn't just popularity. This was dependency. And dependency terrifies any organization. Because when fans follow one person more than the logo loses power. Then came the real shock. ESPN had the first shot. Meetings happened. Conversations happened. Evaluations happened. And then nothing. Classic corporate hesitation. While they stalled, NBC acted. Fast, decisive, no questions asked. One contract. One signature. Done. Just like that, ESPN wasn't leading the story anymore. They were chasing it. And in business, that sting? It's worse than losing. It's missing the moment entirely.
One day,
we have to talk to Adam about that.
can we make it mellow? Honestly, if there's someone
Even if it's a preseason game, we got to get it done. I don't think the Liberty will want to move a game over here, but we'll play anybody. That'll be fun.
Yeah. How could you describe maybe the atmosphere your first time in it?
Well, I think as a player, like this is kind of when you feel the atmosphere the most is when you're out on the court warming up. So, I mean, there's just a different type of buzz. And obviously when LeBron comes to town, it's probably really different. But, you know, Knicks fans are crazy and I love it. I love people that are passionate about basketball. So it's pretty incredible.
So, Caitlin Clark saying she wants a fever game at Madison Square Garden. That would be nice, right? That would be an event. But I think Fever fans just want to see Caitlin Clark in a game, period. They just want to see a WNBA season. They just want to see her back on the floor healthy. It doesn't matter what arena it is, what venue, home, road. The biggest thing is Caitlin Clark being back playing basketball and healthy. But, her crack there was
Because missing means you had the chance and let it slip. Insiders say the moment NBC announced her name internally, everything changed. Producers were celebrating. Marketing teams were buzzing. They knew what the league didn't want to admit. Caitlin Clark wasn't just a player. She was attention. And attention? Attention is money. Millions of dollars of it. So when she stepped into that studio for the first time, cameras rolling, lights blazing, she wasn't nervous. She was calm, comfortable, like she belonged there. Breaking down NBA plays, calling out defensive rotations, talking to legends like she was their equal. Not a guest, not a rookie. A voice, authority, commanding the room. And viewers noticed immediately. Clips went viral. Not dunks, not threes, just her talking basketball. Millions watched a rookie explain the game better than seasoned analysts. That's when the league felt it. She wasn't growing inside their system anymore. She was growing outside it. And growth outside the system? Uncontrollable. Because when the spotlight follows her, she doesn't need permission. She doesn't need approval. She doesn't need protection. She has options. And players with options don't wait, they move.
He makes it look pretty easy, but I can promise you it's not that easy.
Yeah, he is coming off a triple-double. You got that right. And
So, that's funny because the reason I said it could make some people mad, Stephanie White had notably on a broadcast talked about how I think it was when Luka was back on the Mavericks, they in a way played, faster and more together, or the ball popped more. And I think that's what it was. The ball moved more without Luka out there. So Clark referencing Luka with some of the stuff around her and Stephanie White, and the butting heads narratives from last year will be amusing. But, again, Caitlin Clark just playing basketball is important.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss our deep dives into the hottest moments in basketball. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think about Caitlin Clark's rise and the WNBA's reaction? We want to hear from you.